So, I've been thinking about deep diving crankbaits. And you can make them dive deep with a bill on the front. They can go down 10 feet if you're lucky. It's hard to get them to go down more than that. You're going to weight the heck out of them, but even that's limited. You can slow down your troll or retrieve and then weight them and they'll go deeper. But there must be a way to get them to dive deeper on their own, I think. So I've been thinking a lot about submarines. And I think I'm going to build at least a prototype to kind of see what happens. I'm not sure. I don't know if anything like this has been done before. Chances are it has been. Everything's been done at least once, but I haven't been able to find it. So, this is what I have in mind. A submarine. Let's see if I can kind of draw in here a little bit. By the way, we have a submarine base just about 40 miles to the east of me in Kittery, Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. A submarine has diving planes on it. There are some on the front end of it, and when these planes are tipped down, the boat tips down and it goes down. Now inside the submarine there are air tanks that they fill up with air or fill up with water and lets the submarine go up and down. And this is really the main buoyancy part of it. If these things are empty, the submarine floats to the top. If you fill them with water, it sinks. And if you fill them just a certain amount, whatever that is, it'll give a neutral buoyancy. Water has a buoyancy of 1 gram per cubic centimeter. And if you make the submarine 1 gram per cubic centimeter, wherever the submarine is, it will stay. So if the submarine is in the water here and it's just staying at that point because of the neutral buoyancy, when these diving planes are tipped down, it'll dive down to a point, but when you stop, it'll stay at whatever level you put it at. And that works great. But submarines also have a conning tower, and on that tower is another set of diving planes. And they're in the middle of the boat. And I think the reason that they're there is that when you want to do a quick dive, you fill the tanks, which takes time. You want to do an emergency dive. But these planes will tip the boat down, and as the propellers drive the boat, even if it's not ready to dive yet because of this buoyancy, this ballast, these planes will tip the boat down, and instead of driving it forward, will drive it underwater. Which is okay, except everybody is tipped. These planes, when they tip down, of course these would be out of the water when it's floating, but you get the boat underwater, get neutral buoyancy, and when these planes are tipped down, they tend to drive it down from the center, so that the boat will look like it's just sinking. Even though the planes are tipped down, it's driving it forward from the center, so the boat isn't tipped to go down. The planes are just making it drop. So what if you had a bait, some kind of a fishing lure, some bait, and instead of having a bill here in the front like we normally have, like a submarine has, what if you were to take and put some in the middle of the bait, tip down? When you drove the bait forward, if the planes were on both sides, it would drive the bait down in a level way instead of having it just tipped. So even if you had a tie here with the line pulling it sort of up, these would keep it driving down. Don't know if it would be much different from this one. having the bill on the front. But this is definitely a possibility. You could call it the sublure. I think I'll give it a shot. So, I've got my heavy paper here, and I'm not sure if I should make it kind of a thick crankbait size or make it more glide bait. I'm not quite sure. I think it's got to be a little bit longer in sort of to work well. So, let's see here. Also, I want something a little bit bigger so that I'll have room for this thing. This right now is, let me get, where's my rule? Right now, this is, as drawn, is about 4.5 inches, which is about the size I usually make baits for this area. So, let's kind of go with this design. I have front, standard gills. Since the plane, this diving plane is going to be, I think I'll put it towards the bottom, right about here like this. And we'll put the ballast in about the same place. We want it to float level. I'm going to put 2 string connects. I'm going to put one sort of on the lower front, and I'm also going to put one kind of on the top up here. It'll give me an option to see how this works. I can put 2 like that, of course, one in the back, and we'll get some hooks right about here. Okay, I think that's a go. It's about right. There it is. I don't want to weight the heck out of it. Sometimes when I use pine, I've got to drill a couple of holes to put lead in to get it to sink. I want kind of a neutral buoyancy to begin with. Maybe a slight floating, but a neutral buoyancy. So I'm going to use some maple this time, which is a pretty dense wood. Not as much fun to work with because it's a little hard. But in this case, I'm going to stick with it so that I can get the weight in there to begin with. Okay, I need a little taper on this. Now I'm pretty much a freehand carver. This maple is hard to carve, but it's got a nice grain to it, so I have to really push on the knife. But it carves nice and evenly. After a marathon carving and sanding session, there it is. A little bit submarine shape, but you still got to make it fish shaped, I guess. Now I need to drill some holes. This was going to be a baking soda and super glue filling of the holes for the covering up the lead, but I'm out of super glue. I thought I had some, so it's going to be epoxy. I'm sealing this with some UV resin. Well, here's the lure with the UV coating on it, and you can see the diving planes on the sides. Now, one thing I did was I found that in testing this, and I tested it in the house in a bowl of water, it sunk too quickly. I didn't want it to sink. I wanted it to be barely a floater. So I had to drill out the front lead hole and put it in water, and right now it's barely a floater. So to give it neutral buoyancy, once I fill this hole with baking soda and super glue, that'll add a little bit of weight, and then when I put the final paint and UV coating on it, that will make it so it's probably just about neutral buoyancy, I hope. And I did test it with the hooks on, so I think my final product will be something that's very close to neutral buoyancy. I've got to fill this now. I'll be back. Well, that took all of 5 minutes, and that hole is now sealed again. Little pearl white on the belly. And I have the mesh on for the scales. And we'll do a little silver on here. Okay, let's take this netting off. This is dry. And there's the scale pattern. Don't know if it's going to show up very good on the camera. It actually shows up pretty good off camera, I know that. Well, I don't know exactly what I want to paint this. What color? Boy, I'm not sure. Let's see. What do you think? This is violet, fluorescent violet. That would really be weird, wouldn't it? Oh, what the heck? Let's try it. I think I need a base coat of something else first, though. Let's see. Yeah. fluorescent blue. The reason I'm doing fluorescent is they work really good over silver. Very light. Now some of this, what is it? Violet. Okay, that is very different. Now for black. Now for the eyes. That's one of the eyes that was made earlier. We've got some more, some resin for the top coat here. Now that the eyes are on. "30 minutes. So, the lure is done. Here it is. Got the hooks on it. Well, the submarine lure doesn't work. I wanted it to work, but it was a lousy idea. I have since taken and ground the center fins off and put a regular bill on the front, and I took it out to use it, and it worked just fine. Still kind of a little bit of too much of a wobble. The rest of it wasn't built for a front bill, so it's kind of a pretty lure, but it just took about 2 or 3 hours to make from beginning to end, so I'm not too worried about it. It was an experiment that did fail, so if any of you are considering getting a lure like this, or making one rather, if you could make it work, I'd be interested in seeing what it is, but I don't see it working. Oh well, live and learn.